The planet Valeria was known for its beautiful purple skies and tall, crystal trees. Every year, the people of Valeria celebrated the Star Festival, a day filled with music, dancing, and glowing lights. The festival was extra special this year because the young princess, Lizira, was coming of age. Her mother, Queen Salira, was the ruler of Valeria, and she loved her daughter more than anything in the world. On the day of the festival, the city was alive with joy. Children ran through the streets, laughing and chasing after floating lights. Food stalls filled the air with the smell of sweet spices. Everyone was happy, and Queen Salira smiled as she watched her people celebrate. She looked for Lizira, who wore a silver crown and a dress that sparkled in the sunlight. Lizira loved to explore. She was curious about everything and wanted to see every part of the festival. She waved at her mother before slipping away with her two closest friends, promising to stay close. The queen nodded, trusting her daughter. But as the day turned to evening, the crowd grew bigger and it became hard to see everyone. Suddenly, a loud cry echoed through the festival. Queen Salira turned and saw Lizira's friends running toward her. Their faces were pale and full of fear. "Your Majesty, Lizira is gone," one friend shouted, gasping for breath. The queen's heart skipped a beat. "What do you mean she is gone?" she asked, her voice shaking. "We were looking at the dancers," the other friend said, "and Lizira went behind the music tent. We waited, but she didn't come back. We searched everywhere, but she's not there." Panic spread through the festival. Guards rushed to search every street, garden, and tent. People called Lizira's name, hoping she would answer. The queen ordered her guards to seal the city gates so no one could leave. She used her communicator to contact the royal command, demanding that they scan every corner of Valeria for the princess. Far away from Valeria, in a huge space station orbiting the planet Sephora, the Galactic Alliance watched the distress signal from Valeria closely. The Alliance was a group of many different planets working together to keep peace in the galaxy. When Valeria sent a call for help to find their lost princess, the leaders in the Alliance knew they had to act fast. Among the many soldiers in the Alliance was Sergeant Ethan Cole, a human from Earth. Ethan was known for his bravery and kindness. He had helped many planets before, saving people in danger without caring about their race or planet. When Ethan heard about Lizira, he felt something inside him stir, a strong wish to help. "Sir, we have a new mission from Valeria," said the Alliance commander. "Their princess is missing. They want someone they can trust to find her." Ethan stood tall and said firmly, "I will go. I want to help bring her home." The commander nodded. "Good. The people of Valeria respect humans because of your past help. You may be their best chance." Within hours, Ethan was on a fast ship headed for Valeria. As he flew through the stars, he thought about what awaited him. Valeria was beautiful but dangerous now because of the princess's disappearance. Ethan prepared himself, studying the culture of Valeria and the people. He knew to respect their customs to gain their trust. When the ship landed on Valeria's shining landing pad, Ethan was met by a group of royal guards. They looked serious but hopeful. They led him to Queen Salira's palace, where the great queen waited with tired eyes but strong spirit. Ethan bowed respectfully. "Your Majesty, I am Sergeant Ethan Cole of the Galactic Alliance. I promise to do all I can to find Princess Lizira and bring her home safely." Queen Salira's eyes softened. "Thank you, Sergeant. Your help means more than words. My people need hope, and I believe you can bring it." Ethan spent the first days learning about Lizira's last known movements. He talked to the princess's friends, the palace staff, and the city guards. Slowly, a picture began to form. It was clear that Lizira did not leave on her own. Someone had taken her. Ethan walked the busy streets, watching the people and listening carefully. Valeria's beauty hid many secrets. In the shadows, there were whispers of a dangerous smuggling ring, criminals who kidnapped others to sell them or hold them for ransom. Ethan knew he had to find the link between the smuggling group and Lizira's disappearance. He was determined to find the princess and return her safely to her mother. The search had only just begun. Queen Solira watched Ethan closely. She could see his honesty and strength. For the first time since her daughter went missing, she felt a small spark of hope. Ready for part 3? Just ask. Sergeant Ethan Cole stood in the busy marketplace of Valeria's capital city. The sun shone brightly through the purple skies, but Ethan's mind was focused on one thing: finding Princess Lizira. The crowd moved around him, but his eyes searched every face, every corner. He knew the princess had disappeared near the festival area, so he decided to talk to the people who were there that day. Ethan approached a small group of vendors selling colorful fruits and glowing trinkets. He spoke gently. "Have you seen anything unusual during the Star Festival?" One vendor, an older alien with green skin and bright eyes, nodded. "Yes, Sergeant. There was a strange group of outsiders near the music tent. They did not look like Valerians. I heard they spoke in low voices, not from this planet." Ethan thanked the vendor and moved on. He walked toward the music tent area, now empty and quiet. On the ground, something caught his eye: a small silver pendant. He bent down and picked it up carefully. It was a gift Lizira often wore, a family heirloom. This must have fallen when she was taken, Ethan thought. Nearby, he noticed strange markings on the tent's support poles. They looked like symbols, but Ethan did not recognize them. He took pictures with his communicator to send back to the Galactic Alliance for analysis. That evening, Ethan met with a local informant named Rava, a young Valerian who knew the city's secrets well. Rava was nervous but willing to help. "There is a group who call themselves the Shadow Serpents," she whispered. "They control the smuggling underworld here. They might be behind the princess's disappearance." Ethan listened carefully. "Do you know where they hide?" Rava hesitated, then said, "They have a hidden base beneath the old harbor. It is dangerous. Many have tried to find it, but never returned." Ethan's jaw tightened. "I will be careful. Thank you, Rava." As night fell, Ethan prepared for the next day. He reviewed the information and planned his moves. The clues were small, but they showed a path forward. The silver pendant meant Lizira was close. The markings could be a code, and the shadow serpents might be the key to the mystery. Before sleeping, Ethan looked out over Valeria's glowing city. He whispered, "Princess Lizira, I will find you. I promise." Early the next morning, Sergeant Ethan Cole prepared for his most dangerous mission yet. He needed to find the shadow serpent's hidden base beneath Valeria's old harbor. The sun was just rising, casting soft purple light over the city, but Ethan's mind was sharp and focused. Ethan knew this was no ordinary place. The harbor was full of abandoned ships, broken machines, and dark tunnels. Many people said those who entered the underworld never came back. But Ethan had a promise to keep. He would find Princess Lizira and bring her home. He moved quietly through the shadows, his steps careful on the cracked ground. The salty sea air mixed with the smell of oil and rust. Ethan kept his communicator ready, but he knew he couldn't call for help here. This was enemy territory. As he walked deeper, strange eyes watched him from dark corners. Small groups of rough-looking aliens whispered and stared. Ethan felt their hostility, but stayed calm. He raised his hand to show he meant no harm. Suddenly, a tall alien with sharp teeth and bright yellow eyes stepped forward. "What are you doing here, human?" the alien growled. Ethan smiled slightly. "I'm looking for the shadow serpents. I want to find the missing princess." The alien laughed, a cold and hard sound. "You're brave, or maybe foolish. The shadow serpents do not like visitors. But if you want information, maybe you can pay." Ethan reached into his pocket and pulled out a small data chip. "This contains valuable information for the right price." The alien's eyes narrowed. Then he motioned for Ethan to follow. Ethan was led through twisting tunnels and hidden doors. The air grew thick and heavy. He knew this place was the heart of the smuggling ring. In a dimly lit room, a group of shadow serpents sat around a table. They wore dark clothes and had scars from many battles. Their leader, a fierce alien named Cora, looked at Ethan with suspicion. "Why should we help a human soldier?" Cora asked. Ethan met her gaze. "Because I want to find the princess, and she is important to all of Velaria. Helping me will show you that humans can be friends, not enemies." Cora paused, then nodded slowly. "We do not know where the princess is, but we heard she was taken by another group, worse than us. Maybe the Black Talons." Ethan's heart raced. The Black Talons were known for cruelty and dark deeds. "Can you tell me where they operate?" Cora handed him a small map. "Follow this to the asteroid colony far beyond the outer belt. But be careful. The Black Talons are dangerous." Ethan thanked Cora and left the underworld quickly. Outside, the sun was setting, painting the sky with pink and orange. He felt a mix of hope and worry. The search was far from over, but now he had a new lead. As Ethan looked at the map, he whispered, "Princess Lizira, I'm coming. Hold on." Sergeant Ethan Cole stood on the bridge of his small starship, staring out into the vastness of space. The stars glittered like diamonds, but his mind was focused on one goal: reaching the asteroid colony where the dangerous Black Talons were said to operate. The map from Cora, the Shadow Serpent's leader, showed the way. The journey would be long and risky. The asteroid colony was far beyond the outer belt, a place known for lawlessness and danger. No official ships dared to go there, but Ethan's promise to find Princess Lizire gave him strength. He checked the ship's systems carefully. Everything was ready. With a deep breath, he gave the order. The engines roared, and the ship shot forward, leaving Valeria behind. During the trip, Ethan thought about the princess, a young girl lost far from home, scared but strong. He knew he had to be faster than those who held her captive. After hours of travel, the starship approached the asteroid colony. It was a cluster of rocks and worn-out spaceships hanging together in space like a broken crown. The colony looked dangerous, with bright lights flashing and small ships moving quickly. Ethan slowed the ship and sent a signal asking for permission to dock. Silence. No answer. He tried again. Still nothing. He knew this place was controlled by criminals who did not welcome outsiders. So, he decided to land on a small platform hidden at the colony's edge. As the ship touched down, Ethan felt the weight of danger. He checked his gear and stepped outside. The air was thin and cold, but the people here were tougher than the cold. He moved carefully through narrow alleys and shadowy docks. Every face he passed looked suspicious, watching him with cold eyes. Ethan kept his hand near his weapon but did not show fear. He was a stranger here, but he had a mission. At a small bar filled with different aliens, Ethan met Reva again. She had come with him to help. "This place is worse than I imagined," she whispered. "The Black Talons rule with fear. They will not give up the princess easily." Ethan nodded. "We have to be smart. Find their leader and learn where Lizira is." They spent days asking questions quietly, following whispers and rumors. Slowly, they discovered the Black Talons base, an old mining facility deep inside a large asteroid. One night, under the cover of darkness, Ethan and Reva moved closer to the base. The guards were many and armed, but Ethan's training and Reva's knowledge of the colony helped them avoid danger. Ethan felt hope rising. He was closer than ever to finding the princess. He only wished time would move faster. Before entering the base, Ethan looked up at the stars and whispered, "I'm coming for you, Lizira. Hold on just a little longer." Inside the rocky asteroid, the old mining tunnels were dark and cold. Sergeant Ethan Cole moved carefully through the shadows, his footsteps soft on the dusty floor. Beside him, Reva held a small light, showing the way. They were close to the Black Talons' secret base. Ethan's heart beat fast. He knew the princess was somewhere inside this place. He felt the weight of the promise he made to Queen Solera to bring Lizira home safe. They reached a heavy metal door, guarded by two armed aliens. Ethan whispered to Rava, "We need to find another way in. A direct fight would be too dangerous." Rava nodded. "There's a ventilation shaft on the other side. It might be small, but we can use it." Crawling through the tight shaft, Ethan felt the rough metal scrape his skin. After a few tense minutes, they reached a grate overlooking a large chamber below. Peering down, Ethan's eyes widened. Rows of small cells held many frightened people, mostly children. In one cell, a young girl sat alone, her silver hair catching the faint light. Ethan's breath caught. It was Lizira. She looked tired and scared, but when their eyes met, she showed a flicker of hope. Ethan whispered, "Princess Lizira, I'm here to take you home." Lizira's voice was soft but steady. "Thank you. I knew someone would come." Ethan quickly studied the layout. Guards moved above, watching the halls. He pointed to a small tunnel on the far side. "That's our way out, but we must be quick." Rava found a tool to unlock Lizira's cell. The door clicked open, and Lizira stepped out, trembling but brave. Together, the three moved silently through the tunnels. Every step was careful, every breath held. They heard footsteps and voices. The black talons were alert. At one point, a guard passed dangerously close. Ethan froze, holding Lizira and Rava back in the shadows. The guard did not see them and moved on. Finally, they reached the exit tunnel. Ethan opened the door and saw the cold night sky beyond. Freedom was just ahead. But then, alarms blared. The black talons had discovered the escape. "Run," Ethan shouted. They sprinted through the tunnel, the sound of heavy footsteps chasing them. Ethan led Lizira and Rava over rocks and debris. At the landing platform, Ethan's ship was waiting, engines ready. He helped Lizira aboard, then lifted off just as the pursuers appeared at the tunnel entrance. The ship roared into space, dodging incoming fire. Ethan's hands were steady on the controls. Lizira held his arm tightly, tears of relief shining in her eyes. "We're safe now," Ethan said softly. Lizira looked out the window at the shrinking asteroid. "Thank you, Sergeant. You saved me." Ethan smiled, feeling hope for the first time in many days. The journey was far from over, but now Lizira was with him, alive and safe. The ship's engines hummed steadily as Sergeant Ethan Cole guided it away from the dangerous asteroid colony. But danger was far from over. Behind them, the angry black talon ships surged forward, firing bright blasts of energy through the darkness. Inside the cockpit, Ethan's eyes scanned the sensors. "They're closing in fast," he said calmly. "We need to lose them before they catch us." Princess Lizira sat quietly beside him, still trembling but growing stronger with every passing moment. She looked at Ethan with trust and hope. "What will you do, Sergeant?" Ethan smiled softly. "I have a plan. Hold on tight." The starship darted toward a nearby nebula, a vast cloud of gas and dust glowing with soft colors. The nebula was known to confuse enemy sensors and block tracking signals. Ethan pushed the ship into the thick cloud. The stars disappeared, replaced by swirling mist. The black talon ships followed but struggled to keep their targets in sight. Inside the nebula, the ship shook as it passed through turbulent currents. Ethan's hands moved quickly over the controls, steady and sure. Suddenly, alarms beeped loudly. "Missile lock detected," the ship's computer warned. Ethan twisted the steering and released flares, bright bursts of heat designed to fool missiles. The missiles changed direction, exploding harmlessly in the distance. Lizira watched wide-eyed. "You're amazing, Sergeant." Ethan chuckled. "Just a little Earth technology." Outside, the black talon ships grew frustrated and began to retreat. Ethan saw their signals weaken on the screen. "We've lost them," he said with relief. Lizira smiled for the first time in days. "Thank you for saving me." Ethan looked at her kindly. "You're very brave." "It's my honor." As the ship moved away from the nebula, Ethan took a deep breath. They were safe for now, but their journey was not over. He sent a message to the Galactic Alliance for backup. Help was on the way. Lyzira stood and walked to the small window, looking out at the stars. "I never thought I would see home again," she whispered. Ethan put a hand on her shoulder. "Soon, you will. And you'll be with your mother." The princess nodded, wiping a tear. "I want to thank her. And you. You gave me hope when I had none." Ethan smiled gently. "Hope is the strongest thing we have." The ship continued through space, a small beacon of light in the vast darkness. Inside, two friends grew closer, united by a promise, courage, and a journey that was far from over. The starship cut through the endless black of space, a small point of light moving steadily toward Valyria. Sergeant Ethan Cole kept his hand steady on the controls, though his mind was sharp and alert. They were not out of danger yet. Behind them, distant flashes lit up the darkness. The Black Talons had not given up their chase. Their ships, faster and more aggressive, closed in with deadly determination. Lyzira sat quietly, clutching a small pendant she had found in the mining tunnels, a gift from her mother. Her eyes were tired, but filled with hope. Ethan glanced at her and smiled gently. "We're almost home, Princess. Help is coming." The ship's sensors beeped urgently. "Incoming fighters detected," the computer warned. Ethan's eyes narrowed. "Get ready," he said calmly. The Black Talon ships emerged from the shadows, their weapons glowing bright. Ethan maneuvered the ship skillfully, weaving between floating rocks and debris in an asteroid field near Valyria. Laser blasts zipped past, some hitting the ship's shields. The ship shook, but Ethan stayed focused. He activated the ship's countermeasures, smoke screens and electronic jammers, confusing the enemy's targeting systems. One by one, the Black Talon fighters lost their luck or crashed into asteroids. Still, the leader of the Black Talons, a massive ship known as the Night Fang, pursued relentlessly. Ethan took a deep breath, time for one last move. He pushed the ship's engines to maximum and headed toward a narrow canyon on the asteroid's surface. The Night Fang followed but was too large to navigate the tight space. With expert skill, Ethan flew through the canyon, the ship scraping past rocks on both sides. The enemy ship struggled, caught in the rocky maze. Suddenly, Ethan released a powerful pulse from the ship's energy emitter, temporarily disabling the Night Fang's engines. The massive ship slowed, then stopped, drifting helplessly. Ethan sighed in relief. "That's the end of our chase." As the threat faded, Ethan sent a signal to Valyria's defense fleet. Backup ships responded quickly, surrounding the disabled Night Fang. Back inside the ship, Lyzira smiled warmly at Ethan. "You saved me again." Ethan shook his head. "You saved yourself with your courage. I just helped a little." Lyzira looked out the window at the approaching Valyria. Her heart beat faster. Ethan said softly, "We will be home soon. Your mother will be waiting." The princess nodded, feeling a new strength inside her. Outside, the stars shone brightly over Valyria, ready to welcome their lost princess back. The starship glided smoothly through the atmosphere of Valyria. Below, the purple skies stretched wide, and the city glittered with lights, welcoming its lost princess. Sergeant Ethan Cole sat beside Lyzira, both of them watching the world they had been fighting to return to. News had spread quickly. The people of Valyria waited anxiously for the princess's return. Crowds gathered near the palace gates, their faces filled with hope and relief. Queen Celera stood on the grand balcony of the palace, her eyes scanning the horizon. Her heart pounded as the ship's silhouette appeared in the sky. Tears filled her eyes. The moment she had feared and dreamed of was here. As the ship landed, the crowd cheered loudly. Ethan helped Lyzira step down, steadying her as she looked at the faces that had waited for her. The princess's smile was bright, a mix of joy and exhaustion. Queen Celera moved quickly through the crowd, her arms open wide. She embraced Lyzira tightly, tears flowing freely. "My daughter, you are safe. You are home." Lyzira sobbed softly, pressing her face against her mother's chest. "Mom, I'm back." "He saved me," she whispered. Ethan stood back, watching the reunion with a quiet smile. He felt proud and humble, knowing he had played a part in this miracle. The crowd applauded, some wiping tears from their eyes. For days, hope had seemed lost, but now it was real again. The Queen turned to Ethan, her voice full of gratitude. "Sergeant Cole, words cannot express what you have done. You are a true friend to Valeria and humanity." Ethan bowed respectfully. "It was an honor, Your Majesty. I only did what anyone would do." Lizera took Ethan's hand gently. "You saved my life and brought me back to my family. Thank you." The Queen smiled warmly. "Let this day be remembered, the day Valeria and humanity stood together." Later, inside the palace, Lizera rested but stayed close to her mother. She shared stories of her captivity and escape. Queen Salira listened carefully, her heart both heavy and grateful. Ethan and the Queen discussed the future. The rescue had shown how important the alliance between Valeria and humans was. They planned to strengthen their bonds, to protect their people from future threats. The princess looked at Ethan with new hope. "I want to help others who suffered, just like you helped me." Ethan nodded. "Together, we can make a difference." Outside, the stars shone brightly above Valeria. A new chapter was beginning, one of friendship, courage, and hope. The grand hall of Valeria's palace was filled with light and music. People from all over the planet had gathered to celebrate the safe return of Princess Lizera. The joy was felt in every corner, and the air was thick with hope. Queen Salira stood proudly beside Sergeant Ethan Cole. The Queen's eyes sparkled with gratitude as she addressed the crowd. "Today, we celebrate not only my daughter's return, but also the friendship between Valeria and humanity." Sergeant Cole's courage reminds us that hope and kindness can cross even the greatest distances. The crowd cheered loudly. Ethan smiled, feeling both proud and humble. He never expected such honor, but he knew this moment was bigger than himself. It was about trust and unity. After the ceremony, Ethan and Lizera talked quietly in the palace garden. The stars twinkled above them, and the crystal trees glowed softly in the moonlight. Lizera looked at Ethan with determination. "I want to do more. I want to help others who are lost or in danger. You showed me how strong hope can be." Ethan nodded. "You have a brave heart. Together, we can build a future where no one is left behind." In the weeks that followed, Lizera trained to become a leader not only for her people but for the galaxy. She worked with Ethan and the Galactic Alliance to create new programs to protect and rescue those in need. Queen Salira watched proudly as her daughter grew stronger and wiser. The bond between Valeria and Earth deepened, with human ships visiting often and Valerian diplomats joining the Galactic Alliance. Ethan stayed on Valeria for a while, helping to teach new soldiers and sharing Earth's ideas of courage and kindness. The people respected him not just as a soldier but as a friend. One evening, as Ethan prepared to leave Valeria, Lizera came to say goodbye. She held a small glowing pendant, a gift from her mother and a symbol of hope. "Thank you, Ethan," she said softly. "You saved my life and gave us all a new beginning." Ethan smiled and took the pendant. "This will remind me of Valeria and the promise we made." As his ship lifted off into the stars, Ethan looked back at the shining world below. He felt a deep peace, knowing that hope, kindness, and courage could change the galaxy. Queen Salira stood on her balcony, watching the stars. She whispered, "Thank you, human. You brought my daughter home and showed us all the power of friendship." And so a new era began, one where different worlds stood together, stronger and kinder, ready to face the future as one.